You be vocally adorable, and I will go check the levels.
Yeah. How's it going, guys? Making sure I have all my proverbial ducks in their rows. Sometimes my ducks are more like squirrels at a rave, but that's okay. Let's see here. Heat knife is not plugged in, which is good, because I do not want the murder device hot yet. I'm not ready. I don't need this. Fling! Yes, made it. Let's see. Random pencil. Horns. Just double checking our sound settings and we'll be ready to start soon. Let's see. That's fun. Everything all settled here.
Go ahead and bring up the music volume.
Bring up music volume. I can do that.
Do,
bring it up a bit here.
Yeah, there.
Yeah.
Alright.
There we go.
I'll go double check that.
Do it.
Also, we apparently have ads now.
Yes.
Cool.
You can't turn those off.
No problem.
Yep.
I didn't know if there was a timer setting that we need to look to on that.
There's not.
Okay, groovy. They just play whenever.
They're pre-roll. Cool. So when someone turns on the channel, they will get an ad, and then they will just switch watch the channel. Excellent. Yay. Oh, Twitch likes mine.
I mean, so do we.
It's true. Let's get
Alright, we're gonna go one more volume check, and I'll do that.
I'm gonna feed the beast. Come get in. Oh, yeah. Hello. Maybe. Huh? Yeah. Yes. Oh, this treat bucket is almost empty. We need more treats for the kitten. Oh my goodness. What do you think, Cat? How's our sound settings, babe? Oh, monster cat. Oh my goodness. You are a monster.
Now bring the music down just a smidge.
Music down a smidge. I can do that.
And then I'll just zoom it.
Cool. Somebody will let us know if it's not good.
You might want to take it down on the actual,
That's fair.
because it's the mic's picking up some of it.
Ah.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's do that.
We should be good.
Sweet.
You forgot to close the...
you distracted me. Okay, that's fine.
I'm taking this. You're giving her too many.
Last time.
Oh my god. You have no willpower.
I was gone for like 4 whole hours. She freaked out.
I love you.
I love you too. Alright.
Yep, so what's going to be on the... She's like, I smell treats on those.
What's gonna be on the cat? Nope.
Animal abuse.
Kitten does not like costumes. Alrighty, so we are continuing on Grand Blue Cosplays. What you looking for?
You keep going.
Okay. I will keep going. Grand Blue Cosplays, part, I don't know. Last we left off, we finished making Narmaya's horns. They're super cute. Before that, we made Narmaya's super cute little elf ears here. Oh, she's a giraffe. She's not an elf. But we made some cool foam ears. And Brian has been working on drafting some armor for Percival.
Yep.
I got it right. We have our reference pictures of Narmi right over here. Don't have a reference picture of Percy yet, but we'll work on that.
Once we get more progress on him,
Yeah.
we will, but Narmaya is the main focus right now.
Yep. And I only have so much screen space.
Screen real estate is important.
It's true. Alrighty, so I think before I get too far, I'm going to bag up all of our pattern pieces for Narmi's horns before I lose them.
Fantastic.
Oh, there we go. So I like to keep my patterns in a handy dandy Ziploc, and then I'll put the Ziploc in a file folder when I'm all done with this project. Narmaya horns. Fantasy. It's more fun when you sing it.
Labels are also very important, especially once you build up a large stock of items.
Especially when you're like in the middle of multiple pieces too, because I tend to lose things a lot. Just like in the general shuffle. There we go. Alright.
Not putting the tape patterns in there.
Nope. Don't need the tape patterns.
Are you sure you don't need the tape patterns?
I'm sure I don't need the tape patterns.
You're gonna throw out the tape patterns.
I am going to throw out the tape patterns because they're officially in my way.
I'm proud of you, babe.
I'm throwing things away. It never happens.
Good job.
Ah! They're just stuck to the table. Blech. Got it. One more.
Success.
Go. And I'm going to throw away the tinfoil horn too.
Okay. Are you sure we don't need to undo that tinfoil and use it to pattern something else?
That's a good point. I could recycle this tinfoil and I never thought about that.
Yep.
Let's just add that back to the drafting cubby.
There you go. Alright, so I was tearing up duct tape in the background. What I'm going to do before Vicky goes to town on these horns, we've decided that we're going to do heat scoring on these to add in the ridges that you can see in the reference picture there. What's interesting about these ridges is they are a full circle and it's not a spiral. So what that means is it's going to be a full connecting circle that's going to go around this. Now, if I hold this up to you, right there you can see, this is a relatively thin foam. This is just a 4 mil right here. And if we make a full circle heat scoring into this, that means we're going to be taking this 4 mil down to probably anywhere between the 2 to 1 millimeter layer in spots. So it's going to make it much, much weaker. So what we don't want to have happen is going through it completely in a couple different spots, making it fragile, and then have a piece of the horn just literally dislodge and pop off. That would not be good. That'd be bad. So I'm doing a cheap and easy reinforcement technique called add duct tape to it.
Yeah.
We're not going to add duct tape to the outside, but because it's a hollow horn, we're going to add duct tape to the inside. This by no means will save it if, you know, Vicky accidentally heat scores all the way through the thing. But if it gets down to that like 1 mil thickness at any point, the duct tape on the inside will help just kind of keep it structurally sound. Again, it's just a way of adding a little extra stickiness to the inside of it to as a just in case precaution. So I'm going to start doing that while Vicky is grabbing some sanding tools. Bloop. And I tear it down into thin pieces so that I can maneuver it more easily inside of the actual horn itself.
Yeah.
So I will just play with that in the background here.
Okay. Don't need the sandpaper just yet. That's gonna be for ears later.
Now, were you going to sand the ears or are you going to heat the ears?
I'm gonna start with hand sanding and see what happens.
Okay.
Because I can always come back with the heat. I can't really undo the heat. That's my logic. Am I incorrect in my logic?
No, you're correct.
Okay.
Well, technically you can undo the heat in the exact same fashion you'd undo the sand. You just remove material.
That's true. Alright, so let's see. Horns. I want to add my lines. I'm going to burn later. Let's see. Pencil. Make my Narmaya horns a little bigger there. There we go. I'm just going to super lightly sketch on where I want all my horn lines. It's really hard to see in that picture, but we'll figure it out. I believe in myself. You want this one?
I'm just gonna hold the picture on the phone.
Sweet. My phone's almost dead.
It's at 45%.
Oh, yay! I forgot we put it on the fast charger. Sweet.
I got you, babe.
Thanks. Alright. Make my girl a little more of a manageable size. There we go. Ta-da! The tally cat has mellowed already. It looks like those etching lines on her horn go from high on the inside to low on the outside.
There you go.
Hey, Hax, how's it going?
Let you work off of that image.
Excellent. Thanks, babe. What you up to tonight, Hax?
Cat and boss. Nice.
That cat is the boss. It's true. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3. 3 lines, and then number 4 is gonna be our corner. So that makes math a little easier here.
And I'd pay more attention to the gaps between them
Uh-huh.
as opposed to the
Number.
exact number of lines, because that's more important to the overall look.
Okay, I can do that instead. That one's pretty good. In it 322. Nice. That one's gonna look good down here.
Okay, that's about as good as I'm going to get the inside of this one.
Sweet. Trade. Trade.
Trade.
Thanks,
Got you.
babe. Alright, here we go again.
And let me go ahead and start getting the heat knife warmed up for you.
Not until I move this. I've already killed one cutting table, or cutting mat,
Yeah.
with heat. I don't want to kill a second one.
As long as you don't lay the heat knife on your cutting mat, you're gonna... Okay.
I'm making quite a face.
Okay.
I have destroyed one cutting mat. I do not want to accidentally destroy another. So while I'm sketching my scoring lines, trying not to press too terribly hard because I don't want to make etches where I might end up editing the lines away later. You like nighttime? Oh, your time is 3:22 in the morning? It's 3 a.m. there? My goodness. That is sleepy time for me.
Yeah, we rock that old people schedule and fall asleep at around 10 to 11 o'clock. Well, Vicky typically goes to sleep, and then I usually play on my phone and putz around for another hour or two until midnight-ish, and then I fall asleep. But she's got to be that early riser.
Moscow. Oh, cool.
Now, do you work night shift, or do you just stay up until the wee hours of the morning? Alright, this one's got the tape in it as well.
Awesome. Thanks, babe.
Remember, this will not save you if you solder completely through it.
Yes. Correct.
Light touch with the heat.
Correct. I remember.
And Kitten's gonna be very displeased when I move this entire thing with her on it.
Oh. Easier for you to stay awake at night. Brain works differently. No one interferes and I can sleep even with the noise. Nice. Yeah, everybody's got their own thing. You gotta find what works for you.
Now, when I rocked college, I was definitely up till about 4 o'clock in the morning during the weeknights.
I lost it. Bring it back.
I love you, babe.
I'm talented.
You're beautiful.
Aw, thanks.
This is the top of the image, so you cannot zoom anymore.
I wasn't trying to zoom, I was just trying to turn it on and then it went away.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You go, girl.
Go girl.
Now's an opportunity.
Now's your chance. Yeah. Whoop. Sorry, kitten. Thanks, babe. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Save the cutting mat.
Alright, now I gotta get this thing heating up for you.
Cool.
Okay, it is now a dangerous tool.
Sweet.
Respect it.
I do.
time for me to apply Google layers. So I will be back.
Do it, babe.
Bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always
Hack says, I apologize for the poorly readable nickname. I do not think that Russian language streams on Twitch are not very good. My nickname is A Game of Letters. Written in... Translate, read as... Narayat or Nariat? I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that both ways. Nariat. I try. Welcome back, kitten. All letter red. Narayat? I'm getting close. I'm trying. Hi. Thank you. Hi. I love this cat. Ugh, Keaton, nice smells bad.
That's just the old foam burning off of it. You can only get it so clean.
It's true. Can only get it so clean. Well, I hope I'm getting close. I try to get people's names, like, close. As good as I can.
Just give up on it, babe.
Aw.
Make a valid attempt.
Okay.
Then make 5 more valid attempts.
Okay.
But don't feel bad.
See how to write the translation. Fair enough. Or just let me know what you want me to call you. I can call you Joe. I can call you Hey You. I can call you Narayat. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Now to do it again. Mirrored. So this is another cool reason that I didn't realize of why it's nice to have registration marks, is now I can like map my lines pretty close to each other.
Oh, nice. Hidden benefit.
Yes.
I mean, you planned it all along.
I definitely didn't, but I am reaping those benefits and I'm going to remember it for later. On a future build.
It's good to have happy accidents.
Yes.
chocolate chip cookies.
Are those ever an accident, though?
They were created as an accident.
What?
You didn't know
I don't believe you.
Yeah, when the chocolate chip cookies debuted, I'm sure somebody created it before they became famous, but famously they debuted a long time ago at a bake fair or something like that, and they messed up their recipe and accidentally knocked in a bunch of chocolate chips into their dough, and then they just rolled with it. And it turned out you add chocolate to something and it makes it delicious. Who knew, right? Yeah.
Nice.
100% not made up. Never fact check it. To totally be wrong.
Like how waffle
But
cones got started.
I like the story.
I like the story too.
What was that?
Like how waffle cones got started.
What's the story behind that one?
World's Fair, guy ran out of dishes for his ice cream, but there was a waffle stand next door, so got a bunch of waffles and put ice cream in them. Thus,
There's a lot of World's Fair.
there's a lot of World's Fair stories. Somebody's like, I'm not going to tell you how I invented this, but this sounds legit.
Alright. Go watch Friends sing, and then I'll be back on stream.
Sweet.
Huzzah.
Woo! Good job, babe.
That's looking pretty good.
Thanks.
Look at you planning where you want to actually make the cuts with the heat knife. When I do this kind of stuff, I just grab the grab the blade and start carving, and then kind of make adjustments based on where I think it will look good. That's how I wind up with pieces that are not symmetrical.
That's okay. Eat.
Alright, babe, let it rip. That thing should be plenty toasty by now.
I still gotta do the backside.
Oh my.
It's all in the front.
Alright, while you work on that, I'm going back to the floor.
Sweet.
Boom.
It's alright. The backside should go faster than front side because I just have to connect dots here.
As you're moving the heat knife around, you want to make sure that you have a strong hand in terms of keeping the width out, because it is going to want to bite into the material, and you want to avoid that because that's what will lead to it actually puncturing.
Right.
Cause we are trying to find a way to feel. If I could sleep, I'd dream of what we'd be. But I can feel you slip further from me. that I want, but don't have. And I'll run into the sea, follow this heart that escapes me. It escapes me, and I'm
Almost there. Dialing it in.
all I was and
Yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with that. Now once more to do it on the other side. There. Yeah, we're there. Didn't understand. According to the rules of our language, some letters are simply not readable in this word. On a longer tournament, you with my nickname, read is convenient. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Yeah, Russian characters to English characters do not always translate. Russian is a really cool sounding language, though. And one of the handful of languages that when I hear it, I can tell that it's Russian. Yeah, some languages I can tell what it is even though I don't know what the words are.
It's a very distinct language.
It is. It sounds so cool. Okay. King Louie, thank you for the follow. We appreciate it. Yay! You're the best.
Where did you hide your blade at, babe?
Sharp things go there.
Ah, cool. Thanks.
I put it away. Your blade is still right there, where it was last night.
This blade has a fresh blade.
That blade could also have a fresh blade.
It could. But I'm going to use yours.
Eventually, my blade will not have a fresh blade because I'll keep using it.
And then I'll switch it.
Good. And I keep holding my horns at different angles to make sure these lines look good from all angles, not just flat on. Because I am a perfectionist. Yeah. One more line, and then we can burn things.
Yay!
Burninate! Yesterday, you experimented with setting up cameras. still can't configure Chinese IP cameras to transmit normal video. That's with data protocols. Might get a stream up this from your workshop. Awesome!
Oh, that'd be super cool.
Very few manual streamers on Twitch. True. Love to see more makers. We love our video games on Twitch too. But it's awesome to watch somebody make things. Or to turn on a maker stream while you're making things. Get some inspiration. King, my husband is not being punished by working in the floor. He is a floor gremlin and prefers to work in the floor. We have this nice, beautiful cutting table. We have other countertops around the workshop.
Hi.
He chooses to be in the floor. I constantly tell him he does not have to be in the floor. He chooses his fate. He is an adult. He is allowed to choose. So today we are working on cosplays from Grand Blue Fantasy. I am working on Narmaya, who is this pink-haired cutie over here. And Brian is working on another character named Percival. We don't have reference images up for him yet because there's only so much space on the screen. But he's tinkering away trying to figure out some patterns for shoulder pieces for that.
Oh no, I'm just cutting out foam and making it work.
Cool. He's not figuring out patterns, he's just YOLOing it. As you do. And I am working on her horns. Yeah. I guess they angle forward a little bit more. I don't know. So we are about to burn in the texture lines on her horns. I just finished sketching those out. I think I'm pretty satisfied with that, actually. Triple checking my line placement.
They're perfect. Go.
They are perfect.
Go.
So we draw our lines. Yay. And we remember to take a reference picture. I'm so bad about that. I'm gonna do it though. Look at me taking reference pictures.
I'm super proud of you, babe.
I don't always remember. I feel like I didn't take enough reference pictures yesterday.
Nah, you're fine.
Here we go. Okay.
I just want to see the fun part.
I know you want to see the front part. It terrifies me.
That's why I want to see it.
Scary. Alright.
Yeah, any power tool that doesn't have an off switch definitely freaks out the wife.
Especially since the way I hold pencils is much more towards the tip for control, and I like my flesh, so I can't do that. So we gonna be super duper careful, and we're gonna start on the back.
Don't laugh while wielding.
Because I'm a big old chicken.
Yep, the lightest touch will sear right through this stuff. Yeah, so this is another reason why I really like the SKS props foam. You'll hear us say it a lot. We sound like shills. I mean, we kind of are. We're not being paid or anything. We just really like this foam. But it is very soft foam, and as a result, when you're using like heating implements to score into it, it will chew through it very, very fast. The reason why we have to be extra careful right now is because we're just working with 4mm thick foam. And as I said earlier in the stream, these horn designs, like what we're burning in, is a circle. So it's a fully connected circle. So if we burn too deep, what it's going to do is it's actually going to chop the horn off, and that's not good.
You're really making me feel like I should have used 6 and like I should rebuild these.
No.
No?
You've already used the 4 that I covet. And it's a perfect looking horn. You got this, girl.
Just saying.
You got this.
You're really shaking my confidence here.
Is the glue hard? Maybe the potato peeler can trim the seam. Potato peelers I have actually seen used for trimming foam and things like that. It's just a matter of getting the razor sharpened on those. But yeah, I have seen those utilized before, almost like a whittling technique when doing some alterations to foam details that have already had hardeners on them. But one of the other reasons why we really like heat being used whenever we're doing details like this is it fuses the cells and melts the foam in on itself, and it creates a very unique texture that you do not get when you're cutting into it to create details. And especially when you're trying to make horns, like monster horns or ram horns, like organic looking, bone type things, it gets the perfect texture that we've found for getting it in there.
Read chat to me, I can't look.
Oh, well, that's a tool I have never tried.
Yes, this is a wood burner. Meant to burn wood, but we also burn foam.
Yeah.
Open eye,
Nice, you're doing a good job, babe.
I'm going in at an angle instead of like straight into it
by the sounds I'm breathing.
to kind of cut down my wrist here.
Chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight.
Nice, looking good. I trust you to continue. I mean, I knew you got this all along.
Really?
Yeah, full of confidence. Gotta stop looking now and work on my own stuff.
You're just mesmerized.
I'm totally mesmerized. I can't help it. Okay. Back to the floor.
Getting our burn lines in there. E.
Stop in time. Yeah, I'm surrendering. Hold tight, chemicals.
Yeah, last stream we were working on putting the scenes together, and now I'm working on getting those burn lines in for texture. And yes, the fumes from burning foam are toxic. Don't inhale deeply. If you're in a small room, you want to have really good ventilation. Our workshop is the entire basement of our house, so it's a pretty big room. So we're not too worried about the fumes down here just because we have a lot of space, so our ventilation is pretty good. But if you have a small room, be careful. Good thing the cat is supervising both of you. True. The cat is the boss, not even up for discussion. Absolutely. That's what it should be. Mm-hmm. She's sulking because she got cut off from treats. For now. We will definitely get her more later. I don't have a problem.
And then in other Tallycat news, we did just hit affiliate, so that's a definite thank you for everybody that watches and let us hit the numbers to get that.
Yes.
What that unlocks is emotes and such, which we're going to have a friend of ours who's a brilliant artist start doing some. But the hard part is figuring out what we want the cat doing in the emotes.
What Tallycat emote do you guys want?
Yeah, so if you have any suggestions, feel free to throw those into the chat. We haven't really put a lot of thought into it yet because we just found out that we hit affiliate this morning. So we got some time, and they have to be Tallycat related just because. And then we'll probably have some sort of Zion Recon related thing as well because those are our most popular cosplays, and we love that duo to death, and we'll continue cosplaying them all over.
Yeah, that is definitely what we were most known for, is our Zion Recon.
And part of the reason why I like working on the floor is I can't sit still, and I like rolling around all over the place. So I enjoy having a workspace that is basically unlimited, because I'm a weird monkey that has bizarre habits and enjoys being sprawled out and working in bad posture positions. Luckily, the wife here is a chiropractor as a day job, and she's able to keep me functioning.
I try.
Because I am definitely bad for my own health.
You really are. Okay, one horn done.
Let's see, King tried burning foam, and it is very hard to get it straight and consistent. What's the trick?
I don't know. Mine is also not that straight and consistent. What I was doing just now was really short, really light touches with the foam. Kind of like sketching. So maybe try like really short strokes with the burner.
The other method that I use, and again, I use more freehand when I'm going in and doing details like burning and things like that, but I will take the burner, and then I'll have my piece of foam, we'll say it's the table. I'm not going to burn the table, babe, it's cool.
Thanks.
But you want to use your hand as a solid guide. It's hard to see my fingers because of the angle, but I'm going to have pressure down on my fingers. And the reason why I want to have pressure down on the object is that's going to make sure that I can have I can fix the length at which my burner is at. So what that means is when I then move, I make sure that I'm moving in a steady, straight line. Now to do this technique, you're going to want to have your object down on the table or something else to where you can again apply pressure. So you keep your hand steady and keep pressure applied so that it's not going to shake and move around. If you're free-handing up here, it's a lot more difficult. So what Vicky was doing, I can't do because I have a very shaky hand. It's very hard for me to get fine details, and again, using pressure helps mitigate that.
Yeah, you're basically giving yourself a tripod.
Yeah. Give that dangerous implement back to you.
Which is why I was dropping to my elbow, because I can't really get my finger on the table where I need it to be, but I can at least get my elbow on the table. If I'm doing it up here in the air, it's a lot harder to keep a steady hand. Just give yourself a tripod as best you can.
Yeah.
Alright. Here we go some more. Terrifying!
Look, you successfully did not chop off any of your horn. Good job, babe. You rock. That's what I did.
Oh, I can't forgive, can't forget myself. The peace that I'm missing, it kills me inside. I need help. Oh, please give me back.
So I'm also trying to stabilize my hand, like, on the horn while I'm working on it too. It's proving a little more challenging than I would like, but we're doing our best.
It's a cylindrical object, so it's going to have its challenges.
Definitely one of those things, the bigger your project, like size-wise, the easier it is. Also, if you're not doing symmetrical things, those are easier too.
Yeah.
Alright, 2 more lines. We're getting there. Nice. So
So Hax, I know you're working on a project on the adjudicator from SAO. How do you decide on, I guess, what projects you're drawn to? It's like for us, where we draw a lot of our inspiration from, it comes from the games that I like to play, and a lot of times it also involves the story behind them, which is kind of humorous that we do so many fighting game cosplays. But we really, really love the designs that go into a lot of fighting game characters, especially in the Arxis brand of things. And then, surprisingly, if you look into it, the characters in most fighting games are fairly well fleshed out. Now, the story, that's another that's another bag of worms. But in terms of like backstory, character quirks, personality, fighting games are a good look for that because they have to express all of those things into short little introductions and outros to make the characters more interesting and more appealing. And then what they did with Grand Blue Fantasy, like Narmaya in general, is just an adorable, badass samurai chick that is somewhat narcoleptic, cute, has a minor inferiority complex, and really resonated with Vicky here. So it's one of those things where we fall in love with the characters, and then we're drawn to cosplay them. But I'd be curious what your perspective is from just like cool props design, because it just, you see a sword that looks cool, so you go to try and draft up a plan and see if you can build it in real life. Because I know one of my other friends that does costumes, she enjoys taking a look at action figures, and then whatever looks awesome, that's what she does. So nothing to do with character or anything like that, just sees cool thing, makes cool thing. So always intrigued on what drives people to make and do the things that they do. And that is looking fantastic, babe.
Yeah.
Nice.
Did Maui's hooks out of foam for the grandkids. Nice. Tried making all the inscriptions in the round and failed miserably. I did all of the burning with the foam. Flat. Much easier. Yes.
Yeah, flat.
Burning things flat is way easier than burning things in the round. For sure. Probably I should have done that to begin with. But, oh well.
You're good. That is a nice drop-off texture-wise. I like that, babe.
So there we are with our burnings. Ta-da! Tempted to clean that up some more. Just like smooth this out. And then I think I need to go in and fill the seams where they opened up some. Does that seem okay? Did I get too deep?
You're not going to be able to clean these. You're in too
With
deep.
sanding?
You can do some
Just like
light.
here.
You can do some light sanding.
Or foam clay?
Probably the you're going to want to use the palm sander for that most likely because you don't want to remove too much material.
Right.
But also a lot of this texture you want to keep, even where it's like a little bit rough and off. That's going to get cleaned up in paint.
I'm looking at my reference image again.
Because remember, these are, and again, these horns are organic in nature. Like these are like bone horns. So they're not going to be perfect straight lines. You're going to want to have some like variance in them. Like if they were mechanically like out of a cast kind of a thing with absolutely perfectly clean, symmetrical everything, it wouldn't look right. That would just look like a plastic prop. You want them to have that living texture on them.
Okay. That's not what I see in the reference picture, but okay. Do you think that will look better?
Remember, you're looking at it without paint and without any additional details. The other thing that you can do is you can add to it with foam clay. But yeah, again, this is very thin foam, so we can't really remove too much more material than we already have.
Right. How would you suggest filling in where the seams opened up from the heat?
I'd add contact cement and then just go back
Squish
in
it back
on
together.
there because that'll happen.
That's fair.
And normally I'm the one that uses the heat knife for most of our stuff. So here's another thing: contact cement is heat active, So if you're using something, if you're using a heat knife to go into foam, especially on something that has tension, that's been contact cemented together, then when you go over that with the heat knife, it is actually going to break that seal on the contact cement. But you can just add more contact cement and then seal that back up with some glue. And if it's gotten completely hardened over, to where the foam has actually become hard and almost like crystallized because the heat has basically melted it too much, then you can use super glue at that point to close the seams. Normally you want to use contact cement because the contact cement will get into the pores and seal the foam really, really well. But there are different glues for different jobs. Doing good, babe? If you futz with it too much, you might break the seal completely and open it up.
Okay. Alright, give me some contact cement. Let's do that.
Contact cement?
Yes.
Okay. Contact cement time. Give you the fine tip brush.
We'll just go back in here. Put a super tiny amount of contact cement in those seams where they opened up. Hi, kitten. Did you wake up? Oh, that's a face. Oh my goodness. Still want to be really careful that I don't use too much contact cement. Let that chill. Let's touch up the other horn. those guys. I need to unplug the heat knife. That would help. There we go. Ugh.
It will now only remain dangerous for like another 10 minutes.
Only 10 minutes?
Yeah, it cooled down pretty fast actually.
Now we squish our scenes back together. What's up? Heat knife or soldering iron. This one is a heat knife, or a wood burning tool. I think soldering irons are technically a little bit different. Ours came in a box that said wood burner anyway. Is the heat regulated? No, it is not. And yes, you can ask questions as much as you want. Please do.
Yeah.
We
So-
love questions.
So a lot of our tools, we get them from a local shop near us called Harbor Freight. Basically, it's like a discount hardware store. So our tools are very, very cheap. So they typically just do one thing. They do that one thing very well. But when it comes to fancy stuff like settings or safety measures or...
Oh, this sucker is on or it is not.
Yeah, our multi-tool is the same way. Multi-tool is basically like a bone saw. It vibrates at a very high speed. It won't cut flesh, but it can slice through metals and plastics and all kinds of things like that. So, again, there's a lot of different types of heat knives and soldering irons and things like that you can get. But really all you need is just something hot and metal.
Are you hot?
Oh, Harbor Freight. I can't walk out without spending $200.
That's a lot at Harbor Freight.
That is, you get a lot for $200 at Harbor Freight.
Especially if you have like the 20% off discount coupon thing that they always put out in the mail.
Yeah, I always feel bad when I have to go to like a Lowe's or a Home Depot or some of the name brand places. Oh my gosh, things are very expensive. I think the one that I spent the most money on recently was I got a palm sander, just because I wanted an oscillating sander as opposed to like a belt-fed sander or a Dremel. and the cheapest one I could find was still like $90, something like that. Power tools are expensive, but it's something that you only need to buy once, and it'll last you for a bunch of years.
Well, I'm not getting all of the seams closed here, but it's getting better.
Don't worry about it. Sealing will also close the seams off some as well. Sealing and paint. Again, whether we use like a plasti dip or if we use a glue base to go on top of it, we are going to use sealer on it. You can also add foam clay to it as well to build out.
That's kind of what I was
On it.
planning on doing next, is adding some foam clay.
Yep.
To fill and just to like puff these guys out a bit.
Let's see.
Can buy a rheostat. Not too expensive. So you can buy a temperature regulation for this guy.
Interesting. Now, stained glass, that's something that I tried once and I will never do again. I made a very cool stained glass window, but that type of crafting is a little bit too meticulous and tedious for my particular taste.
Not your thing.
I'm sure Vicky would love it. But, oop, contact cement on my fur.
It happens.
It was a very fun process. Like, I wanted to make the... I have a friend of mine who's very crafty. Not in cosplay type things, but he did a lot of acid etching, and he made some, like, acid etched mirrors for us, and a bunch of really cool stuff like that. So, when he got married, I made a stained glass window for him. Had, like, a sword going down the middle with initials on either side. It looked really cool. It came out very nice. I, of course, got assistance with it through class because I'd never done stained glass before. And I wanted to make sure that I didn't give him a garbage wedding present. So it's very cool, and I saw what other people were doing, but when it comes to like that type of crafting, again, I'm referring to things that are meticulous, require good measurements, so you're not...
Planning.
Yeah, planning and drafting. Really not my bag. That's what I got her for. We are very much like fire and ice or oil and water when it comes to like how we do things.
Yup.
Surprisingly, we haven't killed each other, which is great.
Because we balance each other well.
It's true, we do.
Could you find me the foam clay?
Yes.
I think I want to foam clay these guys. You know, for giggles. I don't think I took a picture of these after I burned them. I should do that.
You should.
Sometimes I remember to take progress pictures. There should be an open one somewhere.
Looks like the tab removed.
Then yes.
Everything's fine.
As he throws the lid in the floor.
There you go. Yeah, that's the open guy. Bloop.
Still have some water in there? I still got some water in there. Use a light table for cutting patterns. Couldn't stand cutting out all the pieces. Yeah. Brian also does not like cutting out pattern pieces.
Also, I'm sure because I'm new to it, I wound up breaking a lot of glass with the glass cutter. That was just... I couldn't really get the hang of it. So I definitely wasted a lot of my material when I was working on my project. And required adding some seams, I guess. It was definitely cool. Mad respect for the people that do it. And I like the finished product. It's just one of those things where I didn't enjoy the process.
So I'm now at the stage of crafting where I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of throwing stuff at this piece until I'm happy. And usually it works out pretty well.
Remember to let it breathe, though.
Do I have to?
Yes.
Fine.
Not saying you can't work on it right now, but don't make any huge altering changes to it until you've had a chance to step back and take a look at it.
You mean I shouldn't cover the whole thing in foam clay?
I mean, you probably shouldn't cover the entire thing in foam clay.
That's fair.
If you wanted to sculpt it out of foam clay, then we would have just done foam clay over the
foil.
over the foil and then pulled the foil out.
I mean, that's fair.
You made a really awesome horn.
I did.
Don't ruin it by trying to perfect it.
Okay.
Now I'm curious what's going on over here.
Peeling off the foam clay that I just put on the whole section. I don't have a problem.
We're going to use the foam clay to add details, not create all new horns.
I was adding details.
You're adorable and I love you.
I think.
Now I'm teaching myself wood carving. Don't ask me why, but I am. Nice.
You find foam smithing more challenging than glass? Interesting.
Yeah, foam just plays a little bit more to my strengths. And I've talked about this before, but one of the things I like about foam crafting is ultimately what really matters is the exterior, like the finished product. So, especially early on when I'm making my base for whatever creation I'm doing out of foam, it will definitely be a hot mess. I'm definitely just throwing stuff together and trying to create a foundation that I can then build a final pristine layer on top of. And it just plays to my strengths because I can be pretty fast and loose with the beginning stages of the project, and then get to the more meticulous details after that. And I do like the process of finishing foam. I get into that. It's almost like a trance when you're doing your hours of sanding foam after you finish a big piece. It's very therapeutic, I find. Because it's just, at that point, it's, 70% done, and you're just going through and really bringing out the highlights of the piece. Like, there's just something very satisfying about that whole process that I really enjoy and I'm really drawn to. Do you still need your Narmaya reference image? Nope, it's in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Take in your phone.
Oh, yeah.
Bring your Percy up.
Do it.
Nice job. So what she's doing with the foam clay right now is she's using it almost like a filler for the gaps that were created when the heat knife hit the foam and caused it to separate. And then also adding just slight more elevations to different points to help, again, bring the horn to life. I've been using Quick Seal to fill gaps in the foam, then a cheap painting scalper. Scalper. I think it's called that. I know what you're talking about. And you can take your finger and wet it to smooth it out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've used sealer as well a few times on some of my bigger props, and that works really, really well. I had to do that when I was redesigning Kindred's bow from League of Legends. We were updating it because it was one of our older cosplays, and over time the glue that we had on it had worn out, so I had to go back in with Quick Seal to fill everything in, and then once that had set, repaint the entire thing. But Quick Seal is really, really handy. Filler is very important when you're working with foam, just because it's very unforgiving. Yeah, the foam clay is awesome. It's also expensive. Quick Seal is definitely the cheaper option. But you can do some very, very cool stuff with the foam clay. It's a bit of a newer product. We had bought about 3 boxes of it. 3 of these cases. Tubs. Yeah, that's what it's called. When we ordered our other foam, but because it's on the pricier end, we kind of treat it like Warbler, and that we don't like using it because it's expensive.
Worst case scenario.
Like worst case scenario kind of stuff. But you can do some really cool things because it functions just like clay. So anything you can do with regular clay, you can do with foam clay, only when it dries, it's like a solid piece of foam that you can even sand. So the stuff is fantastic. And a lot of people do things like teeth and jewelry out of it. Again, if you're experienced with sculpting clay, anything you make out of clay, for the most part, you can do out of the foam clay stuff. It's not going to get as crisp of like fine points as regular clay will, but it gets pretty close. And you can find some really awesome people that have done a lot of foam clay work online if you're curious about it. Again, we are total noobs when it comes to this stuff, and we use it as things like filler and adding accents to some of our pieces. But if you're doing smaller cosplay pieces, you can do them entirely out of foam clay and get some really awesome results.
Yeah, we're pretty new to the foam clay. I'm still kind of struggle bussing on it a little bit. But the best way to get familiar with something is to use it.
Exactly.
I also don't have like true clay working tools, so I'm just using my nails.
Nature's clay working tools.
Let's be friends. You only need what's best for you, not them. Don't pretend. Now I don't wanna lose sleep, thinking about everything we could be. Let's just see what comes to be. She said, we're all made in Hollywood, fake loving and hating on silver screens, believing everything we come to see.
I keep dipping my finger in water because the foam clay sticks better to foam if the base foam is wet. Not sopping wet, but damp.
Oh yeah, and that is one other trick with the foam clay. Like Vicky said, it sticks to itself with a little bit of water, and it really sticks to itself. Like, she will not need to go back in and add glue to it. It will permanently, bond itself to the foam once it dries. So that's just another nice thing about using foam clay for accent details like trim and things like that. Is you can get some really intricate stuff on there, and you don't need to worry about again, like using like hot glue or things like that and having it move around on you. Once you put the foam clay down, it will dry exactly where it is and stick exactly where it is on your foam.
Although I am finding there is a limit to how wet you can get the foam clay before it kind of starts breaking down. Because I did not realize until like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, you cannot drown it in water.
Cannot drown it in water.
on silver screens, believing everything we come to see. Go outside, it feels so good. We're loving and hating and making scenes. Now we just see everything we believe.
Buy those cheap paint scalpels. They work really well for $8 at Amazon. That's fair. I might take a look at those.
Amazon's definitely a friend to cosplayers.
Amazon's the best.
Buying cheap in bulk is nice when you're on very limited income and you're trying to do these crazy things.
And gotta love that Prime delivery. One thing to keep in mind for those who haven't used foam clay before is it does shrink a tiny, tiny, tiny bit once it dries. So if you're completely sculpting something out of foam clay, it might end up a little bit smaller than you intended. Just something to keep in mind. It doesn't shrink much though. Aw, thank you for the bits, King Louie. You're the best. We super appreciate that.
Our first bid donation?
Buy some tools. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for in advance for the Amazon sculpting tools. There's a big gap we need to fill.
Nice.
Buy some tools on me. We appreciate it. Thank you.
There we go.
Alright, for not really knowing what I'm doing with filling gaps with foam clay, this is working okay. It's better than it was.
I'm sure it's working fantastically.
It's better than it was.
Oh, you're doing a very good job, babe.
I'm not so sure I want to keep filling with foam clay to smooth that out. I want it smoother.
You can come back in with some, like I said, like a palm sander or some light sanding and smooth it out. That will not be a problem.
Yeah.
You just can't carve any deeper into it.
No,
But
I
yes.
wasn't going to.
Yeah, yeah.
I just wanted to smooth out the rough places from
Yeah, where you
the,
poked it.
the soldering iron.
Yep.
Or heat knife or heat tool. Whatever we're calling this thing. That thing of death.
Yes, you can definitely do that.
Tool monster? Nice.
Now, her father is also a tool monster.
My dad's favorite thing is at Christmas, like, the occasions that we do ask for tools. He is a woodcrafter, he is a redneck, a good old boy. You know, he likes building stuff, but he does not understand this whole costuming thing. But once we told him that we needed a belt sander, he was like, oh yeah, I got this. I will hook you guys up.
Yeah, he's a very skilled woodcrafter. makes all kinds of different things. Done some furniture work. Of course, made tables and things like that for his tool shack. A lot of the heavier end of crafting things. Not really things that we need or that we really utilize, but whenever we need power tools, that's definitely the place to go.
Yeah, he's your typical American dad, all about barbecue and John Deere.
Yep. Or at least the American dad stereotype back in the 90s.
Yeah. The rural American dad stereotype.
Yes. That's looking good, babe. Alright, do you want to do any playing with the ears on stream? Because we are running low on time.
We are running low on time.
These are looking pretty good.
Yeah, I'm satisfied with that.
We're just going to let these sit for now so you can
We're gonna let that foam clay dry.
look at them with fresh eyes tomorrow.
Yes. A very important part of working on any cosplay project is to walk away.
Yes.
Why didn't I make the horns out of pink styrofoam? Because I am not that great at, like, taking a block of something and carving it into a shape. My brain just doesn't work that way. For some reason, I can't, like, just look at this square and see the shape in it. I do much better to instead, which I don't know if you were here when I made the tinfoil version a while back. I'm much better at just crumpling up tinfoil until it's the shape that I want and like packing it down. And then I make a tape pattern off of that. Also, I feel like with patterns, I can get more symmetrical. If I didn't care if the horns perfectly matched one side to the other, I might not have gotten so particular with a pattern. But I wanted them like super matchy-matchy.
Yeah, Vicky's background is in fabric crafting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm much more of the prop guy. So
So-
when it comes to when she's designing something, it's going to be making a two-dimensional pattern
Yeah.
to create the object.
My brain works more along the lines of how do I take this flat two-dimensional plane and make it a 3D thing. So that's why I make patterns.
Whereas
And we
that makes
filled
no
all the
sense
horns.
to me. So I will use like thick foam and things like that to carve down into create props. Because I do enjoy the carving method. Oh, and the cat returns.
That paw. Oh, sleepy cat. She woke up.
So yeah, like I said, we're polar opposites in terms of like how we craft and how we design and make things.
Yeah. And I always say there is no one right or wrong way to make something. There's no right or wrong material in most cases. It's just different ways of how your brain works and how you like to put things together.
And the fun thing is when you see other people that made similar costumes to you, they use different methods, and seeing the different like pros and cons to each of the methods that are used. Because that's one of the things with cosplay in particular. It is just a costume. It's not like you're making anything that's going to be real grade, replicas of the actual items. So no matter what method you're using, you are going to have pros and cons to it. And then seeing how you essentially cover the flaws and accentuate the positives using your particular method is very, very cool. And that's something you'll see a lot of if you enter competitions and go to like judging events and things like that, which we really enjoy doing. It can be very eye-opening in terms of the different techniques that are out there. And so what she's doing right now is she's just going in and doing some hand sanding on the ears that she had made previously.
So I'm not sure if my camera will pick this up, but when I made my ears, it's a little hard to tell. The edges where I joined those two planes together are really close, but not close enough. Like I can tell where one is and where the other one begins. So I'm just evening them out with some sanding.
Yep.
I could also even them out with that heat tool, but honestly it scares me.
That's fine. And if you're doing evening with a heat tool, the important thing to remember is as soon as you apply the heat to it, it's actually going to rescind like a millimeter or two past where you make impact because it just destroys and eats the foam up due to the extreme temperatures.
Learn something from everyone you talk to, even your grandson. Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
That's what's cool about humans. Like, we all have different experiences and different ideas, and we can learn so much from each other.
Yeah, and we've been around the cosplay scene for a long time. We're old peoples. And we tell everybody that's new to the scene or looking to learn, we always tell everyone to enter competitions. Not for the purpose of winning, but because if you enter a competition, you're going to be surrounded with people of all different skill levels using all different types of materials. And they're all a bunch of nerds that did really cool stuff, and they're all super anxious to talk about the really cool stuff that they made. So that's one thing I love about our community is everybody wants to brag. Everybody wants to show off their hard work and get appreciated for their hard work. And at the same time, they want to, explain how they did things, and then other people can take those ideas and integrate it into what they do. And then somebody else will do it better, and then you can see how they did it, and then improve your own game. And it's like everybody's constantly leveling up each other. It's a very awesome scene.
Yeah, a ton of what we know to do, we learned from other people. It's awesome.
And how's the hand sanding working out for you?
I think that's gonna work well. Damn it.
So, Vicky did the cardinal sin, and the thing I told her not to do with the foam clay.
I broke it.
So, let's explain what you did.
So as I was hand sanding, I noticed this little corner started curling up. So I thought, okay, I'll just bend it back, and the foam clay snapped. Don't do that.
Yeah, so the base that we have here is 2 mil, and actually it's 2 layers of 1 mil. So it's very, very thin and very, very floppy. The foam clay is not, because we needed it to be more stiff and rigid. So when she went to bend it, it had almost 0 resistance, and therefore snapped the foam clay. It's not a big deal because it matches up perfectly, and it's not going to create much of a scene, and once we seal it, it'll be fine. It was just one of those funny things because we had talked about it, and then absent-mindedly playing with our props.
Yep. There you go. Well, hopefully these guys hold up okay when I'm like actually wearing them.
It's fine.
Further break.
It's fine. That seals very easily. That's not a problem.
Do I keep sanding this or do I leave it now? Now I'm scared.
We're going to take a break. It's getting late.
Okay.
We're close to our log off time anyways.
Yeah, this is where I need to walk away before things explode.
Yeah.
It's important to know when to call it.
So we appreciate you guys hanging around while we're working on this. It is a slow and tedious process, but once we get the bases on these guys, we can move to some of the more entertaining parts, which is painting and really bringing the pieces to life.
Paint is much more fun. And I'm thinking that crack will fix pretty well when we seal it, because we're going to seal these pieces with school glue.
Yeah. Either
probably.
school glue or wood glue, we'll see. It depends on what texture we want. And super glue we might apply to the crack to seal it. Because, yeah, it is I think that's one of the perks about the foam clay is if it does crack like that, it is a precise and clean crack. You don't lose any material. So you can just go back in, super glue it, and you're totally fine.
Yeah.
So it's not a big deal. It's just one of those things that we literally talked about. So when it happened, we have to call it out.
But hey, I did all of those burn lines without burning myself.
You did. High five.
Yeah.
No wounds.
I was Rory. Okay, guys. Airbrushing, probably not. We do own an airbrush. We have yet to take it out of the box. I like hand paint.
We both really like hand painting, and I really like rattle cans, so spray paints.
Brian spray paints, I do brush paints.
And it's very satisfying to us, and you can get airbrush clean looks with brush painting, but we do need to start playing with our airbrush.
Yes.
We bought one 2 years ago.
We need to practice.
And we haven't busted it out because we just keep hand painting everything.
And up until current era, we were always making our cosplay super last minute, and we didn't want to mess it up by trying a new craft at the last minute. We have time now.
We do have time. So we may start playing with the airbrush and bust that out on stream, and you can watch us learn and fail. That'll be great.
And then figure it out.
Ultimately, we'll figure it out and conquer, because that's what we do.
It's true. just takes practice. But for now, we're gonna sign off because I don't want to break anything else. I'll come back to it with fresh eyes tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and hanging out with us. We will see y'all next time. We plan to be on tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel, which is about 7 p.m. Central. Adjust for your own local. And we will see y'all tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye.